Hi, good morning, and welcome and thank you for joining Connexus SG and Avalara today for our webinar, The Hidden Danger in Your Tax Rate Tables, Challenges of Compliance in Your ERP. My name is Taylor Hodges. I'm the Director of Client Success with Connexus SG, and today we're going to discuss the power and efficiency you can gain from an integrated tax solution from Avalara. We'll be following up after the webinar with some additional information. During the webinar, everyone will be on mute, but please feel free to type your questions in the chat box, and either Minerva will address them to you directly or we can address them at the end of the webinar. Right now, I'd like to turn it over to Cameron Murphy with Avalara. Thanks, Cameron.
Thank you, Taylor, and thank you, everyone, for joining the webcast today. My name is Cameron Murphy. I'm a Strategic Alliance Manager with Avalara. I appreciate the opportunity today to talk to you about sales tax compliance in the state of, and then some of the challenges of that within your resource planning tool. So today, I want to go over the current state of tax compliance, also take a look at some of the challenges of compliance in the ERP, and how we can move some of those manual processes over specifically to an automated process. So looking at automation, then we'll follow up with a little bit of Q&A. So for today, really the current state of tax compliance, what does that look like? And I think if we take a look at all the different pieces and moving parts, really in its simplicity, I think what we really have and what we know is that sales tax is hard. Sales tax is a piece of our business and the state of our states. While states are beginning to recover from the recession, their focus on sales tax remains keen. So they have services and programs to deliver to constituents, and those programs are paid for through sales tax collection. So if we take a look in 2015 alone, about 47% of sales tax was the state revenue, and that accounted for them spending about $786 billion in 2016. And as a business, you carry the responsibility of collecting and remitting those taxes. And as you focus on your own business's growth, the states are taking action to review their tax laws as well. What's taxable versus what isn't, and they audit businesses to ensure that these revenues are being captured. So therefore, as tax collecting agents of the state, they are looking your business to find more money. And what this does now is increases the focus and compliance risk for you. So if we take a look within the United States, we have about 150 million mailing addresses. There's up to about 14,000 now different tax jurisdictions. So within that, there's thousands of changes to taxing laws, including judicial rate changes, tax holidays, the jurisdictions that levy new taxes or eliminate taxes, jurisdictions that expand geographic boundaries. Accuracy is everything within this. So within your customers, your auditors, and especially for your businesses. So how are states finding more revenue? So states are finding more sales tax revenue by broadening definitions of nexus. And nexus is the requirement for companies doing business in a state to collect and pay taxes on sales within that state. So some of nexus creating activities, some simple examples are if you have independent agents that go out into the field, if you have a remote sales force, if you're using a third party or fulfillment by Amazon, any affiliate can trigger nexus. And if you're participating in any trade shows within that. And really what we have with Amazon and some of those laws and really the Supreme Court is now, even if we don't have a physical presence within the state that we're doing business, we could be on the hook to collect and pay tax on sales within that state. So what does that mean for your ERP? So some of the challenges of that, and specifically within compliance within the ERP, what are some of those challenges? So if we take a look at sales tax compliance, sales tax is a statutory requirement. We don't necessarily have the luxury of choosing to do it or not. It's a necessary evil within business, and companies are always at risk of an audit. Audits frequently result in back taxes and penalties, and what we want to take a look at today is really that manual process. Within that sales tax management, it's labor intensive. So if you have somebody that's been uploading tables, they've been doing it for many years, they retire, they leave, any of that manual processes is just open to human error, which leads to an inaccurate result, and it can also be rather costly. And then bottom line, it's 100% non-revenue generating activity. So it just makes sense to automate with a technology solution. So 96% of accounting professionals feel confident about their sales tax strategies. So that's good news, correct? That's an impressive statistic, but unfortunately, 68% of accounting professionals also think that it's likely that their company will be audited. That's a pretty big number, but not entirely surprising. But wait, there's still even more. 48% of accounting professionals admit an auditor would likely find mistakes in their company or audited for sales tax and use tax. So these folks think it's highly likely they'll be audited, and it's just about a coin toss whether or not their business itself thinks that they'll find a mistake. And auditors are even more confident they'll find something. But on top of that, there's still even more. So what is the average cost of an audit? Wakefield Research finds that the average cost of an audit is about a little north of $114,000 of managing the audit in its entirety. Okay, so they think it's likely they're going to be audited, and it's a coin toss as to whether they're going to find mistakes. But if they do the average cost of the business and penalties, interest, and time spent defending the audit, that can add up to a whopping $114,000. That is definitely enough to get your attention. So if we take a look at Nexus and understanding that a little bit more, what we want to know and identify is where you are required to collect. So Nexus describes the connection between a state and a business. So having Nexus allows a state to compel an out-of-state company to register and collect sales or use tax. So some examples, if you have office in a state, if you have employees that travel to a state regularly, if you are a company-owned property residing in a state, anytime you attend a trade show, these are all items that can trigger Nexus. So having a physical presence, per se, is a concept that is continually evolving. Specifically, if you have a rented warehouse or leasing equipment, these are could all be triggers for Nexus. So one of the ways that we calculate sales tax, or if we take a look at that manual processes, a lot of it's done around zip codes. And really, zip codes are the wrong tool for the job. So another challenge in calculating sales tax, if you're basing it on zip codes, really those taxing jurisdictions don't always follow a specific zip code. It's just too broad. Individual counties and municipalities, they can levy sales tax in addition to what the state currently requires. So any tax rate can vary significantly with just in a single zip code. And as you can see there, zip codes, they're an abundant instrument for determining sales tax rates and boundaries. And what it can also do is put you in a lull into a false sense of security, further increasing your risk. So what I mean by that is, if we look at a sales tax rate by zip code, just here within the Denver area, within Colorado, if we take a look at just specifically around the Denver area there, we find, 6 different zip codes. Within those zip codes alone, say we look at potentially Greenwood Village, within the 8011 or within that specific area there, there's 9 different area codes that come up within those different tax rates just within the 8011 zip code. So within Greenwood, a zip code of 80111, there's 9 different tax rates that are represented specifically just within that zip code. So really determining sales tax rates by zip codes is very inaccurate and extremely risky. But that's not just it alone. So within the taxing jurisdiction, the zip code, if we drill down even further on a specific street, if I ship a product to 7450 Leiden Street, the total sales tax, you can see the different rates there itemized, comes to 0.0925. If I ship the same product just steps away to 7495 Locust Street, the tax rate changes from 0.0925 to 0.0475. So you can see they're relying on just a zip code alone to calculate tax rate. It can be very risky. Within addition to that, we also have product taxability that is constantly changing. So if we take a look at a simple Hershey's bar, a milk chocolate Hershey's bar, do we think that this is tax exempt or I have to collect taxes on it? Well, a Hershey's milk chocolate bar is taxable. If I take a look at a Hershey's cookies and cream, it's exempt. So candy with or without flour can determine if it's taxable. If we take a look at a simple energy drink, that is taxable. But a Frappuccino bottled is exempt. One has a supplement label that is taxable, another has a nutritional label that is exempt, and both are non-carbonated. So you can see there between the different zip code calculations, also with product taxability, it's constantly changing and being extremely difficult. So within understanding product and service taxability exemptions, some of the things to keep in mind, the main point is that rules and rates vary constantly between states. There's also, on top of that, a different layer for following industries that have varying taxability rules as well. So software, services, clothing, food, school-related products, digital goods, dietary supplements. There's many of those industries that also have different tax rates as well. So how do we ensure that we're compliant? How do we take a manual processes that is open to human error, adds a lot of non-value added work and time in calculating these sales tax calculations and different products? How do we put a compliance piece on that to make sure that we have the efficiencies we need and we're mitigating risk? That comes in with automation. So how can sales tax automation help your business? Specifically, we can help you save time. So no more researching rates or building and maintaining tax tables. We can increase accuracy, address validation and auto jurisdiction assignment. We can create reports that will mitigate risk in an audit. We can help file taxes and remit payment in minutes, gaining you efficiencies to the business. We can also focus on things that are important, like growing your business, collections, and revenue generating activities, so we can increase profitability. Sales tax compliance tasks, really for us, are calculating, reporting, returning, and remitting sales tax. So identifying anywhere where Nexus rules apply, any exemption rules, making sure that we have the correct set of rates, validation, and address, and then making sure that we're applying all the different tax rates that apply and not just relying on zip code boundaries. How do we do that? Taking a look at the latitude and longitude and really going down to the rooftop to make sure that we have the correct calculation. So what does our cloud platform, our SaaS platform, look like? Really, it's three main things: for tax rate calculation, certificate management, and filing and remitting those returns. We have an automated transactional tax compliance across the entire United States, and we're up to now over 220 countries worldwide. We're ERP or platform agnostic with over 550 platforms, and we work very well with Microsoft Dynamics and also with NetSuite. So how does the solution work within the cloud? Let me explain how our technology works for Avalara. We provide an end-to-end compliance model that we accomplish via automation. Instead of researching rates, building tax tables, and implementing tax processes, companies that use Avalara install a software connector that links their system to our web service. And because it's a cloud software, a SaaS solution, Avalara is always keeping up to date with the tax rates, rules, and boundaries automatically. So whenever you enter an invoice or take an order online, your system calculates and communicates with our web service and sends a little encrypted file that your transactional data, and we calculate in the tax and return it back automatically into your system. That happens really fast. It's approximately 0.4 of a second for a round-trip calculation. And at the end of the month, you no longer have to worry about running reports or filling out forms, cutting checks, mailing them out to the different taxing authorities. When you've processed all your invoices, you can log into your admin console and do a quick reconciliation, and Avalara will file and remit your sales tax automatically. You pay Avalara one amount, and we take care of the rest. Again, this is an end-to-end compliance model that we accomplish via automation, and the idea is to save time and money and mitigate risk associated with managing taxes internally. So I thank you for the opportunity today to talk to you a little bit further about sales tax calculations, compliance, and how we can help with an automated piece. I hope you found it valuable. I want to go ahead now and turn it over to any Q&A or any comments. Minerva, did we have any questions come through?
Hey, Cameron. So we've got a handful here, but folks, if you've got any extra ones, you can feel free to plug them into the questions or chat box on the right side. Cameron, one of the questions we have is, if we're not sure where our company should be collecting sales tax, where should we begin?
That's a great question. It would be good to get information together of where you currently have customers and where you're currently collecting sales tax. Avalara, we actually have a whole division devoted to services such as conducting a Nexus study. So the type of information you're looking for, as in where do I have Nexus, where should I be collecting and remitting, we have a whole division devoted to that, and we can definitely sync you up with someone who can take you a little bit further on that.
Great, thanks. Another question that we've got is, how does the pricing work for the tax solution? Is it user-based?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our calculation engine pricing is based on the volume of transactions that your company has per month. That way you're not charged on your usage and in any way that's not fitted to your business. So that way we're charging based on the usage instead of the user.
Awesome. And here's another one. So we're looking to jump into e-commerce, and you've mentioned that Avalara is connected with the ERP. How does it integrate to all the other platforms we might be using?
So with more than 550 integrations into a variety of platforms, from e-commerce carts to ERP to point-of-sale systems, we're well connected across the board. So if your company uses more than one system, the beauty of our solution is really bringing all of your transactions and sales details into one user interface. And we can accomplish that at Avalara for you. And we'd love to talk to you further about that.
Great. Those seem to be all the questions so far. I do know that, so when it comes to what the next steps are, could you share just kind of who they should be in contact with?
Absolutely. So next steps for today's webinar, if any other questions come up or there's any other visibility you need into taking your manual processes, getting compliant, and really automating that piece, please reach out to Taylor at Connexus SG. She's the Director of Client Success again, and she'll be able to help get you pointed in the correct direction and get those questions answered for you and help you get more towards an automated process to work on compliance. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Cameron, and thanks, Minerva, and thank you, everyone, for joining us today for the webinar. We hope you found the information interesting and valuable. Stay tuned for more information. I'll be following up with an email to you if you're interested in seeing another demo, or if you want more information about the solution, including pricing. Just respond to that email and let me know. I'd be happy to help you. Thanks again, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Taylor, and thank you, Minerva. We look forward to hearing from you.
Bye-bye.